Ladies and gentlemen, your boy C-Jax is back and we gotta discuss some things. Now, obviously, we're gonna get to tonight's episode of Smackdown in a second because, man, we have to discuss this news about WWE officially confirming that Mania 43 is going to be in Saudi Arabia. And I do have to interrupt this recording because it has just gotten, you know what I'm saying, The Rock just got word. You know, that I saw this report on Twitter that says that a deal is trying to be finalized to get The Rock to show up at the Saudi Arabia WrestleMania. Obviously meaning that they're going to try and do Rock versus Roman or Rock versus Cody or a triple threat match. Obviously, the real ones here, we all want this to be Rock versus Roman, but this being a possibility, low-key got your boy excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm down for a Rock and Roman, but if it comes at the expense of a show that's absolute garbage and that nobody cares about and that has no star power because, you know, a lot of people are just like, Triple H is not building any new stars because he doesn't know what he's doing. But if that happens, though, you know, like a Rock versus Roman, I'm low-key sold, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man. That's a once-in-a-lifetime match. I gotta see that, bro. Now, obviously, I made a video like 2 or 3 months ago already saying that this is going to happen. I honestly thought this was already confirmed, but I guess they officially made the confirmation now so everyone can know about it. I don't know why some people are acting surprised. They're like, oh my gosh! Oh, Saudi Arabia, man! I can't believe WWE! Stop. Okay, relax yourself. We are, or at least most of us, or some of us at least knew that this was going to happen. However, the fact is this. This is not the problem is not that, hey, you know, they're choosing to go outside of America for WrestleMania. They're going to go to Saudi Arabia. The problem is that WWE is doing this in the most sellout fashion of all time. We all saw that New Orleans had WrestleMania previously, and they switched it for Mania 42 now to be back in Las Vegas for the second year in a row. We know that apparently at some point London was potentially going to get Mania, and now Saudi Arabia is getting Mania. They are not necessarily doing things based off of the fan base and what certain fans want across the world, and even in America. They are doing things based off of the bottom dollar. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the financial gain is going to be from where they're going, that is what is leading them to these places. So it's not about the fans. Obviously, France by now should have had a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble or even a WrestleMania for all I care at this point, or a Survivor Series, something like that. But instead, all they've gotten is some B or C tier, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the what's called the importance of the shows. It's like C or D tier level shows with Clash in Paris and then Backlash last year. You get what I mean? Now Backlash was actually a pretty solid, even good PLE. But Clash in Paris was garbage. And now we're getting Mania 43 in Saudi Arabia, and the way they did this announcement in this live stream was absolutely embarrassing. You have all of these superstars here lined up in a line. We're going to go through these superstars one by one. Starting off, we had Joseph Tessitore, Biancato Belair, Charlatan Flair, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker. Triple Fraud was showing up and basically just glazing this guy. I think his name is like Turkey Ando something, you know what I'm saying, from Saudi Arabia, who got them to do this deal with Saudi Arabia to have Mania down there. We'll get to Triple H in a second, okay? We had Olivia Morgan, which I guess Liv Morgan is back now. She doesn't have a brace on her shoulder, or at least we can't see it because she was wearing some jacket or something like that. So maybe she's still injured heavily, or maybe she's in rehab. I don't know what's happening with that. But she was out there. Stephanie Vaquer was there. Logano Paul was there to advertise WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia from 2 years. And we're going to talk about why this is interesting in a little bit. And then obviously Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion, was there as well. And everyone there looked like they were being held hostage. It looked so corporate. There was no enthusiasm. It looked so unenthusiastic. Everybody there, including Triple Fraud, looked unenthusiastic about this announcement because they can tell, man, we have gotten so corporate. Like, you can just tell that there's no actual brains involved in any of this. It's just about money and money and money. There's no thought. There's no story dynamics. There's no you know what I'm saying, fanfare and stuff like that. The wrestlers seem very uninterested. It looked like Logan Paul was trying not to laugh at certain moments throughout this because this is just a joke at this point, man. Triple H gets on the mic and starts talking about a bunch of nonsense about, we are so grateful to Saudi Arabia. We thank you. You're going to put on a great show. You're a great partner. Like, dude, you don't even know who you're talking about. He's just listing off names from Saudi Arabia, and then obviously the dude from Saudi Arabia, I think his name was Turkeyando, whatever his name was, he basically starts talking about how Triple H is continuing the legacy of making big money deals like Vincent McMahon. You know what I'm saying? So that they name drop Vince McMahon, I think multiple times throughout this entire thing, which I guess them now officially saying Vince McMahon's name on WWE programming, I guess means that he is still openly associated with this company somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's the situation with that. So now that Vince McMahon's being mentioned, just like they slowly started mentioning Brock Lesnar, and then eventually he came back at SummerSlam this year, Vince McMahon could potentially return to WWE at any moment at this point. You never know what's happening with this company, okay? But the point is, everyone looked unenthusiastic. They were openly lying about their excitement. Nobody cares about this. These weak behind claps they're doing, like, give it up for Saudi Arabia! Yeah. Like, nobody cares, dude. Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? Seth Rollins looked absolutely cooked here. I know he doesn't seem happy about this. And obviously, with Triple H being at this event in Las Vegas, this live stream announcing Saudi Arabia having Mania, that means, again, he's not on SmackDown! So this is the second or third SmackDown he's missed this month. He's already missed 2 or 3 Raws. We talked about that in the last video. So there you have that. Bianca Belair then gets on and she gets a question asked to her, and she's basically like, Saudi Arabia has become a, a home to women's wrestling. And it has open arms, and it's loving to these women's wrestlers, and it's been a great place, a great grounds for us women's wrestlers in the division. And I'm like, okay, we're just blatantly lying at this point. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just blatantly lying. How many times have we seen women's wrestlers or like internal reports about women's wrestlers not being happy and fans also not being happy with the way that women were represented and reacted to in Saudi Arabia during these shows out there? We've gone through this a billion times at this point, man. So for her to sit there and lie shows you how corporate and greedy and dumb that this entire situation is. And we have to talk about this as well. What is going to be at Mania 43? John Cena is retiring at the end of the year. Randy Orton and CM Punk are almost done. Roman's obviously super part-time. He's nearly going to be out the door probably in a few years. Rollins has maybe 3 years left, 4 years if that. They've built no new stars. What are you going to have? Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes in the main event of Mania 43? Yeah! Logano Paul versus a 50-year-old Randall Orton? Like, are we being serious with ourselves? Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley, a match that should have happened in 2024, happening in 2027? Like, dude, this is getting ridiculous. They have no hype and no one cares. What stars are they going to market this Mania off of? They're probably going to do what they do best and just bring back old legends like The Rock may show up if they pay him enough money. John Cena, don't be surprised if Cena comes out of retirement in 2 years for one more match, because you know the Saudi Arabia is paying these dudes at least like $3 to $5 million for main event matches. Don't get it twisted. If John Cena shows up to a Saudi Arabia show, you know they're paying him at least $2 or $3 million for the match. I'm pretty sure Goldberg got like $1 to $2 million just for one match versus Roman at Elimination Chamber in Crown Jewel a couple years ago anyways. So this is just, they've built no stars, and it's now going to bite them, because these tickets in Saudi Arabia, at least from what I'm seeing from the outlook of the future of the company, they're probably not going to sell very well. They might, because Saudi Arabia is getting a Mania and they've never had one. There's never been one outside of the US, but man, this is embarrassing. And now the fact that Triple Fraud has built no new stars and is lying out of his butt, talking about a bunch of nonsense, it goes to show you how empty this company is. The company's already dead. They have no stars to fall back on. What is the excitement for Mania 43, man? What's the excitement for Mania 42? They have no stars. Nobody gives a crap. So that's that. Now that we've discussed the announcement of Mania going to Saudi Arabia in this corporate, greedy, sellout, garbage company ran by Triple Fraud, the gamer, the Paul Levesque era, where we sell out and give you garbage. This is the new era. Embrace it, look at it, love it, and whether you like it, you don't like it, you're gonna get more of it. So there you have it. Let's get into the review for Friday Night Smackdown. So first off on Smackdown, we had one of the most meaningless and dumbest segments of all time. Now, obviously, you guys know that Triple H just simply books for the pop. I've said this after SummerSlam. I said this after Elimination Chamber earlier this year. All he's doing is simply booking shows for a big reactional moment. Brock Lesnar comes back. We didn't see him for like 5 weeks afterwards. Then he showed up, you know what I'm saying? What's going on SmackDown last week. And now he shows up this week. And Brock Lesnar returned. Ron Killings was brought back to WWE. Ronaldo Killings was brought back to have a segment where they basically ask each other the same questions back and forth for 5 minutes straight, and then Lesnar F5's R-Truth. That is what we open up SmackDown with tonight. Brock Lesnar comes out, gets a mixture of cheers and boos, and that's pretty much that. Then he gets on the mic and he's about to say something, and then all of a sudden, R-Truth comes out. R-Truth is clearly just used as comedic relief and as an absolute joke to get beat up. Remember when he came back, and I told you guys, even if he does come back after the We Want Truth movement, Triple H is not going to do anything with this guy. Heck, Triple H isn't even at work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like whatever at this point. However, R-Truth gets on the mic and basically says, I'm tired of the disrespect, Brock. I used to be scared of you, but now I'm not. Brock Lesnar then says, I don't even know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And he basically says, who are you? And R-Truth says that he's John Cena's little brother, Ron Cena. Now, a couple moments throughout this promo, I did laugh because some of this stuff is actually pretty funny. However, none of this stuff is actually legit, like logically makes any sense. Why is Brock Lesnar even here on this show if John Cena was announced to be on the next episode of Raw? If you knew Cena was going to be on the next episode of Raw, then just go to Raw. Like him showing up tonight was the most filler thing ever, just to ensure that maybe you got a couple thousand extra viewers to show up to see Brock Lesnar. And Broccoli Lesnar basically gets on the mic and asks him the same question back and forth. He says, are you John Cena's younger brother? And then R-Truth responds with, he's my older brother. And that basically, they say the same thing 4 times straight. I kid you not, you can go watch the promo. It's the same thing. Lesnar then asks again, are you his brother? Are you his younger brother? You guys are in the same family? Are you his brother? Are you his younger brother? Like, you see how stupid this sounds? This sounds like some creative player segment and something in a WWE 2K game. This is stupid, and it makes no sense. Then he basically asked R-Truth 3 times, do you know where John Cena is? R-Truth then basically says, no, I don't know where he is, but I'm here to stand up for my big brother. And then Brock Lesnar says, are you missing a tooth? And then R-Truth looks at his teeth and then gets F5'd. And then Lesnar's pants ripped in the back. So he shows his blue underwear and starts shaking his butt for the camera and laughing about it. And then basically moons the crowd in the audience. Then goes up to Stu on the ramp and the cameraman and basically says, screw it, Stu, I ripped my pants. And laughs super hard and then shakes a couple fans' hands and walks away. They don't explain why he attacked John Cena. They don't explain why any of this stuff is happening. It is ridiculous. It's embarrassing at this point, man. When I was watching, I was like laughing at how bad and dumb that this is. This is a bad segment. It doesn't further anything, and it makes everyone involved look like an absolute joke and a moron. Obviously, talk about it in hindsight, it's not funny at all when you really think about it. In the moment, you're laughing at how stupid it is, but then when you think about it, you're like, this is actually really bad content. Then we move on. We get Samuel Zayn versus Rey Fenix for the U.S. title. Again, this match was pretty decent, but nobody cares. There's a difference between the U.S. Open Challenge and John Cena's wrestling people like Kevin Owens, you know what I'm saying, Sami Zayn 10 years ago, a Cesaro, or maybe a Dolph Ziggler, or things of that nature. And then there's a difference between that and then having Rey Fenix go out and wrestle Sam Zayn. We've seen Rey Fenix wrestle undercard and midcarders for the last 9 months, so this doesn't do anything, especially when you know for sure that he's going to lose. I mean, at least with certain moments with Cena, you thought he was actually going to lose, you know what I'm saying? And that was actually special. But with Sami Zayn, you know he's not losing. And this just with Sol Sikoa, too, him cutting his video promo. Like, I don't understand this, man. I'm going to be honest with you. You would think that this would be a cool concept, but if they did this with, like, a world title or a WWE title, then it would be cool. The U.S. title no longer means anything. It's John Cena holding it versus Samuel Zayn. So stop. Samuel Zayn obviously retains the belt, and that's that. Then we get a meaningless segment with Julia and Kiana James beating up B-Fab, and then Michin comes out. We can move on from this. Nobody cares about the women's mid-card on either show, so let's move on. We then get the main event, I'm pretty sure, because you see how I already am at the main event. Nothing happened in between. It was a couple of video segments, you know what I'm saying? It was announced that Carmelo Hayes is going to fight Sam Zayn for the U.S. title next week. What's it called? Chelsea Green decided to get a women's tag team shot, which they get, I think, announced for next week or the week after. And then after that, that was basically it. A-Lister Black or D-Lister Black had a video segment with Damian Priest, and that was it. Then you got to your main event. What's the name? Drew McIntyre versus Randall Orton was a basic match. We all knew that Cody was just going to return at the end of this, and that's it. Randy Orton's knee was allegedly injured the whole match. Drew McIntyre attacks the knee, claymores Randy Orton 2 times, wins the match. Then rolls him outside and is about to claymore him through the table. Cody Rhodes returns to a very mediocre pop considering he's the WWE champion. Then he basically comes out and announces he's going to fight Drew at WrestlePalooza for the WWE title, and that's it. Nobody cares about this. This episode had nothing to offer. This is stupid. Had I not broken down the Mania 43 news, this SmackDown review by itself would have been like 5 or 6 minutes at best. There's nothing to talk about here, and nothing happened on the show. Oh, you know what? I did forget something. Tiffany Stratton fought Jade Cargill in a really solid WWE Women's Championship match. Now, I say really solid because even though there was a multitude of botches and things just weren't making sense and there was some no-selling involved, which I thought some of this no-selling can be cool sometimes, but in some scenarios, it's just dumb, right? If you're taking a finisher and then you just roll out of the ring and then hit your own move, it's just stupid. But Tiffany Stratton has a crazy moonsault bump on the outside, lands on her back. It was really crazy. Jade Cargill then spears her through a barricade. There's good in-ring counters, you know what I'm saying? Alabama slams, jumping drop kicks, all that stuff. Really cool. Ultimately, it ends with Jade spearing Tiffany through the barricade. The ref counts to 10. It ends in a double DQ, which we already knew was going to end in either a DQ with Nia Jax getting involved or Tiffany was going to retain, so they did the DQ. Nia Jax then comes out and basically beats up Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton and says that she's coming back for the title. You're going to take back a title that you never lost? Yeah. As Drew McIntyre can't stop thinking about Punk, and he can't stop thinking about Cody, and he can't stop thinking about Randy, and he can't stop being a jobber. That is basically the show for you. Nia Jax has been going for the WWE Women's Championship for 19 decades at this point. It's getting ridiculous, it's repetitive, but they have no other heels, they build no new stars, and therefore you have the same people feuding, so it is what it is. This episode of SmackDown to me gets a solid 1 out of 10 at best. This was complete and utter garbage and an absolute and utter waste of time. Thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.